7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello students, it's Uncle C again. I welcome you to class. It's weekend once again. And as you can see on the board, today we are discussing mathematics. Mathematics is the subject we are looking at. Our topic is addition and subtraction of fractions. Addition and subtraction of fractions. Now, my expectation is that at the end of today's lesson, learners will be able to add and subtract like and unlike fractions correctly using a step-by-step approach. Learners will be able to add and subtract like and unlike fractions correctly using a step-by-step approach. Now, the last time we met, we learned about fractions, types of fractions, and some examples of fractions. And I remember I taught you that fractions are part of a whole. Fractions are part of a whole. We went further to look at types of fractions like proper fractions, being fractions whose numerators are less than the denominators. We looked at improper fractions, having fractions whose numerators are more than the denominators. And we went ahead also to look at mixed fractions, fractions with with both fractions, numbers and fractional parts, fractions having both numbers and fractional parts. Then we also look at decimal numbers or decimal fractions. Learners, I believe you've practiced, because I remembered I gave you an assignment to list some of the examples of fractions. List some of the examples of fractions and see the differences. If you have any questions, feel free to send it to the comment section. I'll be readily available to address those questions. Now, addition and subtraction of fractions. Addition and subtraction of fractions. When you see a fraction and you are to add, what do you do? When two fractions or three fractions are given to you and you are to add, what do you do? When two or three fractions are given to you and you are to subtract, what do you do? So we move. Now, simplify 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6. Simplify 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6. When you look critically at this fraction, you can tell that the top numbers, 1, are numerators, or we refer to them as numerators. And the down numbers are denominators. So 4 and 6 are denominators, whereas 1 and 1 are numerators. So the numbers at the top of every fraction is referred to as the numerator, and the numbers at the down of every fraction is referred to as the denominator. Now, can you look at these fractions and tell me the kind of fractions they are? 1 over 4 and then 1 over 6. We learned about fractions. We learned about proper, and we learned about improper and the rest. So 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6. Can you tell me the kind of fraction or what example of fraction these two are? Alright, I believe you know the answers there. So let's proceed. Now 1 over 4 is a proper fraction. 1 over 4 and 1 over 6, they are proper fractions because their numerators are less than the denominators. So here we are to add. What do we do? What do we do, or what do you do? You see this in the exam. Simplify 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6. What do you do? Now, these are fractions having different denominators. Fractions having different denominators. We call them unlike fractions. Unlike fractions. When two or more fractions have different denominators, we call those fractions unlike fractions. Unlike fractions. So in this case, what do? You are to add. In addition of fractions, the denominators need to be the same. When they are the same, it's easy to add. I say it again. In addition of fractions, the denominators need to be the same. When they are the same, it is easy to add. But here in this case, they are not the same. So what do? We first of all need to make the denominators the same. The denominators of the two fractions must be the same. So 1/4, 1/6. The denominators must be the same. Now they are not the same. Here is 4, here is 6. The two must be the same. So what do? Step by step approach. The first thing you do is find the common denominator or the LCM of 4 and 6. Find a common denominator or the LCM of 4 and 6. A common denominator simply means a number at the down that will be the same. Or in other words, LCM is least common multiples. Least common multiples. So we are going to look for the least common multiples of 4 and 6. How do we do that? So we do this, multiples of 4, 8, 12, 16, etc. Good. Then we look at multiples of 6, 12, 18, and so on. Now, the least common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. 12 because when you look at the multiples of 4, 12 is the lowest or the least. Then when you look at the multiples of 6 here also, 12 is the lowest. So the 12 now is the least common multiples or the lowest common multiples. Thank you. So now, after we have done that, now we have found a common denominator or the LCM of 4 and 6, which is 12. What do we do then? We go to step 2. Step 2 says, or step 2 reads, now divide the LCM by the denominators 4 and 6. Divide the LCM by the denominators 4 and 6 and multiply by the numerators 1. So what do we do? Step by step. Now the LCM is 12 and the 12 is here, 12. So we are dividing the LCM by the denominator. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Then the 3 times 1, which is the numerator. 3 times 1 is 3. So we write our 3 here. I take that again. The next step is we are dividing the LCM by the denominators. So the first denominator here for 1/4 is 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Then the 3 multiplies the 1, which is the numerator. It is still 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So 3 is here. Then we bring the addition sign down. Now, the next denominator here is 6. So the LCM will the LCM will divide the denominator 6. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. 2 times 1, the numerator is 2. So now we have 3 plus 2 all over 12. 3 plus 2 all over 12. Now let's go to the next step. The next step says add the numerators 3 and 2 and maintain one of the common denominators. Don't forget the common denominators here is 12. So we are adding the numerators, the new numerators we got after dividing the LCM by the denominators. The new numerators we have here is 3 and then 2. So we are adding the 3 and 2. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Then over 12. We are asked to maintain one of the common denominators. 12 and 12. So it is what? 12. So we have 5 over 12. Now the next step says, so in this case, it is rightly here. 3 over 12 plus 2 over 12. Now 3, we add the numerators. So 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. All divided by the common denominator 12. So 5 over 12. Now the next thing to do is, if your answer or if the final result is not in its simplest form, then you simplify it. If it is not in its simplest form, then you simplify it. How do you simplify? It means you are going to find a common factor, a number that can divide the denominator and divide the numerator. But in this case, 5 over 12 is already in its simplest form. There is no further divisions that can be done here. There is no further division. It's already in its simplest form. So we come down and then we now rewrite the whole fraction. 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6 equals 3 over 12 plus 2 over 12 all over 5 over 12, because 3 plus 2, the numerators have been added, it's 5. Then we maintain one of the common denominators, which is 12. So we have 5 over 12. So our final answer is 5 over 12. 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6 will give us 5 over 12. So, learner, anytime you are asked to add fractions, observe carefully and see if the denominators are the same. If they are the same, straight ahead, add the numerators and maintain one of the denominator, because the denominators are the same. But if the denominators are not the same, just as we have here 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6, then you must follow the step-by-step approach, whereby the first thing you do is you find a common denominator, or the LCM, which we did. After that, you divide the LCM by the denominators and then you multiply them by the numerator. The next step you move to is you add the numerators and maintain one of the common denominators. Now, if your final answer is not already in its simplest form, then you simplify. You simplify it in such a way that you look for a number that the denominator can divide and also divide the numerator to make it simple, or for the result to be in its simplest form. But in this case, the 5 over 12 is already in its simplest form. I hope you understand what has just been demonstrated here. Addition of fractions, it's no big deal. It is easy, very easy, if only you understand the principles. If only you understand the principles. Let's look at another example and see. So example 2. Example 2. Simplify. So example 2, we have 1 over 6 plus 3 over 6. So you are to simplify this. How do you know about it? Now, this fraction has the same denominators, so we call it like fraction. It has the same denominators, so we call it like fraction. So here, because we already have a common denominator, which is 6, you go straight ahead and add the numerators and maintain the denominator. So in this case, we have the numerators being added. 1 plus 3 is 4, all over 6. That is the answer. So you see how easy it is. The denominators are common, so we maintain 1 and then we add the numerator. So we have 4 over 6. Very simple. I encourage you to practice this more often, and then when next we meet, all the questions you have can be addressed. Now let's quickly look at subtraction. Subtraction of fractions. Let's look at that and see if that also has something similar. If it has something similar to what is already there. So we have simplify 3 over 5 minus 1 over 10. 3 over 5 minus 1 over 10. This is subtraction of fraction. Now look, when you look at this fraction again, you see that these fractions are proper fractions because their numerators are less than the denominators. 3 over 5, 1 over 10. they are proper fractions. How do you go about it? Just as we have for addition of fractions, when the denominators are the same, you straight ahead add the numerators and maintain one of the denominators. But in this case, the denominators are different. So what do? The same process. You must find a common denominator for this fraction. You find a common denominator for this fraction. So how do we go about it? You find the LCM of 5 and 10. You find the LCM of 5 and 10. So let's see. Multiples of 5. We have 5, 10, 15, then we go on, etc. Then multiples of 10. We have 10, 20, 30, and so on. Now, here, the least common multiples is 10 because that is the lowest number or the lowest multiples of the two numbers. So, 10 is the least common multiples or the common denominator. So, we quickly go this way. So it becomes 3 over 5 minus 1 over 10 all equals our denominator 10. Good. The denominator 10. Now we have the denominator here 10. So what do? Same step. We are dividing the denominator or the LCM 10 by the denominators. We are dividing the LCM 10 by the denominators. Divide the LCM 10 by the denominators 3 and 1. By the denominators 3 and 1. In that case, it becomes